All right, and we are live at 10:05 p.m.
That's the closest we'll ever to be to right on time.
If you're watching our live show, then you know we're never this on time to our 10 o'clock projected start time. If you're listening to the podcast, we do a live show on YouTube. You can search up Jaguars United. I'm Jason. I'm here with Joey, as always. Joey, how's it going?
I mean, as good as can be expected as a Gator fan. Oh, sorry, this is Jags podcast. My bad.
As soon as I got my phone after the game, I had a bunch of texts from people. One of them was from someone that said, "Are you still going to do a live show after this game?"
Of course.
It blew my mind. They even had to ask because, of course, we're going to be here.
I mean, come on, we're better than that.
If you haven't followed us on Twitter yet, we're on Twitter. We're at Jaguars_United. We're on Instagram at Jaguars_United. And I know Jaguar fans aren't happy because there's not a lot to talk about like at the moment of excitement. But follow our Twitter, follow our Instagram, subscribe to the YouTube. We put a lot of content out. So if you like Jags content, you'll enjoy following us. You ever follow someone on social media and you're like, dang, I wish I would have been following them a long time ago.
Absolutely.
That's what you're going to be like as soon as you decide to follow us.
You can't get any better. Local fan-supported podcast.
We're all about the fans. So we do these live shows so that we can communicate with the fans as we're doing the shows and because it's fun for Joey and myself.
It's absolutely a blast.
If you are listening to the podcast or you're not watching the show, Joey is continuing his tank top season theme, and he's wearing his Gator basketball jersey.
Retro.
So there's a lot to unpack here, Joey.
There is.
There's a lot to unpack.
It's really worked out well for me. I'm glad I came up with the whole theme because, we went from tanking for Trevor to tanking for Tampa. Now we're back to tanking for Trevor. So, I mean, it really is it's like a reversible tank top.
It's like it could be whatever we need it to be at the moment.
Exactly. Plus, it's comfy.
We do want you guys to get involved in the chat. So if you're in the chat, make sure to hit us up. D2 says hi. What's up, D2?
What's up, D?
Charlie Boy says, hey, you guys, I don't want to think about the Jags right now. Charlie Boy, I think you're right. And I think this episode may divert off of the Jags a little bit. But you know what? We have all season to divert off the Jags and talk other things.
And to piggyback on that, I mean, going into the season, you had to have the right expectations, which were no expectations whatsoever. So, I mean, going into it, I'm like, hey, man, this is going to be whatever happens, dumpster fire, might have a good offense. We're just going to see what happens, and I'm not going to be disappointed either way. And then, of course, the Jags do what the Jags do. They come out 2 games and look like they might be somewhat legitimate, and then they go back to being who they truly are.
I have a very emotional response to how the Jags played last week, but I want to save it because if I get off on a tangent, I'll go for the next 10 minutes talking about it.
You might black out and the show be done.
I'll black out, and then I'll wake up on our first break.
Fair enough.
So I'm going to get to some comments and then interweave my emotional opinions about how I feel about the Jags throughout. Zach Becker says, I've been waiting for this live stream, so I had other people to cry with. That was rough.
Dude, it was. You're not going to see me crying, but it was rough.
He said opinions on failing for Fields. See, I like the pun, but look, guys, I'm gonna just tell you right off the bat. I'm back on the Trevor Lawrence train. I'm back on it. I was off a little bit.
Oh, really?
I was distracted for a brief moment, week 1.
That's shocking.
From my goal. But you know what? And I know this isn't what fans want to hear, and I know that people are gonna chastise me for this. But I'm back on the tank for Trevor Lawrence.
I'm tired of the Jaguars trying to make a quarterback work. Want to believe in a quarterback. Upside potential. He had a good year or he's got the charisma. Dude, get a generational quarterback that there's no doubt. Not trying to make it work.
I am the last person to be a proponent of tanking. I am not that person, I swear. And people are going to label me for that. Because I get called out for stuff years later. Apparently, I liked Josh Rosen. Someone texted me a screenshot of a text conversation where I said, oh, yeah, Josh Rosen might be good. And they're like, you were all about Josh Rosen.
Might be good.
And I'm like, oh, well, I guess I was at one point.
That's
but
awesome.
I'm not one to do that. But I really sincerely think Trevor Lawrence is a generational quarterback. There's not a guy I can think of that's come out recently, although I do like Joe Burrow a lot, and I think he's going to have a coming out party next week against us. 5 touchdowns, 500 yards.
at least.
I think Trevor Lawrence is a once-in-a-generational type player. He has his composure about him. He has the arm strength. He has the athleticism. He has the brain. There's a chance he brings Dabo with him. All of those factors have me, and I know people don't want to hear this, but I just want Trevor Lawrence. I want Trevor Lawrence. I want a new head coach. I want a new GM, and let's go.
I honestly don't think we're even tanking for him at this point. We don't have to do that. Just go out there and play like you play. I mean, that's all it's going to take. We play like we did against Miami, and we're not winning 2 games. They're not a good team. They have a journeyman quarterback, and we made him look like a Heisman candidate. I mean, it was ridiculous. Was he 18 for 18 at one point?
It was like 28-7 at the end of the third quarter, and I'm just like, what am I doing here? The team has invested nothing into the owners have invested nothing.
They continue not to. I mean, we're not deep at any position. Guys keep getting hurt, and I tried to look up a depth chart before this show because I literally don't know half the guys on the team right now. And the most recent one I could find was from September 17th. Nobody cares about us, man.
No one cares.
The owner doesn't.
Yeah,
nobody cares about us.
Like, we're sitting there. The most common question I get, because people know I like the Jags, so I get a bunch of Jags questions throughout the week. The most common question I get is like, "What's up with the defense?" And I have to say, well, they're literally paying 2 guys. They're paying Miles Jack and Joe Schobert.
Yeah,
that's it. Everyone else is an undrafted rookie or undrafted player they signed, or a guy they've drafted that they think will be good,
or like a backup on somebody else's team as a starter now.
So they've invested literally nothing into the defense. And it's like, well, I wonder why the defense is bad. And look, like I get that we're trying to tank if that's what we're doing, but the fact that the ownership and the coaches they come out and they're just like, oh, I like what we have, and I think we're gonna be better than people think, and we're really trying. That's the part that just like kind of pisses me off. Like I know what else are you gonna say, but
the coaches may be saying that, and they might be trying, but the team was not trying on Thursday. I mean, I'll give Miles Jack credit for trying. I'll give Robinson credit for trying. That guy's playing his butt off. I mean, Minshew tries, but it was god-awful. But outside of that, man, I can't name another player that looked like he was giving more effort than Miami. Miami wanted it more. That's the bottom line. They came out and played hard. We probably were a better team, possibly on paper, and they beat our butts, man.
Yeah, they really did. It was humbling.
Yeah.
TJ Maxx plays, says that game was a fluke. The other team just got lucky. We are going to play better than even for the rest of the season.
Dude, I will take TJ, whatever you want to bet on the game against Cincinnati. Cincinnati's given up 3. I'll take the spread, and they're going to win. Burrow is going to light up our secondary.
Yeah.
He took 8 sacks the last game. He'll probably go for, I'll put it down right now, he'll go for 380, 4 touchdowns, maybe 1 interception, and we're going to get 2 sacks.
Not if we keep rushing 4. Yeah, I mean, I think Joe Burrow, we're going to be the team that puts Joe Burrow on the map.
Yep.
He already is, but you know what I mean.
And honestly, I like Joe Burrow, so I won't even be that mad about it.
Julian Alvarez says signing Hashuka. What are your thoughts?
Who?
Hashuka, the kicker we signed.
After braces went out with a knee?
There's a typo on our ticker. I left the J out. If you'll also notice about our live stream, not only do we have a typo on our ticker, I found out that you can zoom the camera in.
Means you can see my beautiful face.
So all this time when we've had the wide pan, you could have been zoomed in. So we're trying to zoom out. Let us know what you think. If it's distracting, if Joey and me are just too distracting from the conversation, we'll zoom it back out.
Like we can zoom way out.
We can just do a black screen and probably get the same value out of it. Steve Hashuka, the kicker, last thing I remember about him is he was in a kicking competition with Graham Gano in 2016, and no one could really win the job. Kicked a little bit in Seattle. I mean, that's what you do when your starter gets hurt. You go out and sign a journeyman who will be okay.
The fact you knew all that is absolutely amazing.
Well, I play a lot of fantasy football, and Steve Hashuka has been fantasy relevant for a number of years now. Charlie Boy says, but are we worse than the Jets?
Ooh.
Charlie boy.
I like that
says,
one.
not so fast, my friends.
I like that
is what
one.
he says.
I have to agree there.
Yeah. If the Jets get the first pick, do they draft Trevor Lawrence and just get rid of Darnold?
Dude, they want to get rid of Darnold right now. But seriously, like they're calling for his head. You know how Jets fans are. Like they want him out.
Yeah, I don't blame them. Julian Alvarez says that's too low for us. Zach Becker says, honestly, I can't see us being worse than the Jets. I think they'd take Lawrence number 1. If we got anything close to 2, I'd be happy to get that tackle from Oregon and move Cam to right guard. But then what are we doing at quarterback? Because I know we all love Minshew, but
We have to go quarterback. And honestly, our offensive line has looked somewhat respectable this year for the most part, in my opinion.
I mean, Cam Robinson didn't even get a chance to play in last game because of the ejection by the refs,
Which was a complete
horrible
bullcrap.
And I mean, every national pundit has said that's horrible.
I mean, come on, dude.
But it is what it
You
is.
see him, and somebody jumps on you, you're gonna toss him off.
Well, he pushed pretty aggressively the other ref, so when the other ref saw it, his immediate reaction was like, flags, I got to protect my guy.
Yeah, whatever.
I know, it happens. Julian says he thought Darnold would be good, and he was wrong. I was never big on Darnold, but I got the hype.
I thought he'd be good.
He also says Trevor will not be ours, but we should try Luton before drafting Fields.
What?
I'm not a big Luton guy, and
He's 7th round? Come
Yeah,
on,
and
that's what I
I'm
just said. We need a hope and dream. We need a 5-star elite college quarterback on our roster. And why can't Trevor be ours? So what if we don't draft first? We draft 2nd, 3rd, 4th? We got like 900 draft picks in this round. We got, what?
Trade up.
10 in the first 4?
Yeah.
Dude, throw the house at it.
Exactly. If he's going to be your quarterback for the future, if he's going to be your Pat Mahomes, if he's
worth
going to
it
be
all.
your Joe Burrow, trade all your picks.
Anybody watching the game tonight? Pat Mahomes? Look at those throws he's making,
Yeah,
man.
it's
Effortless.
disgusting.
Like it's a next level.
Brent Papano says, how bad did Jernigan play if he got released at this point? Who else is making plays on the D-line?
I still think that's a medical thing, man. I mean, it was Houston that didn't re-sign him after a physical?
Yeah, but
And
there's,
then And then we picked him. I mean, he played awful, but I still think it's probably a physical thing. There's something wrong, and that's why they didn't re-sign him. He came in out of shape, too. I mean,
he had moments where he looked okay, and then he had moments where he looked like he was just washed. And you don't cut a guy if you need depth at a position. My only thought is that he had locker room problems.
what, in the bathroom?
No, like he was like talking that jib jab in the locker room. That's the only thing I can think of. I mean, and that happens. I mean, and
Yeah, it does.
You know, it happens. People are like, we don't like this guy. He's kind of a bad apple.
And he's not playing all that great.
Exactly.
So
So,
why
that's the only
keep
thing I can
him?
think of because you don't cut depth like that, and everyone's like, this move's confusing, and either this front office is just dumb or they had locker room problems.
Does it really matter, though?
No.
Yeah.
Max Hardwick Brown says, why was Jernigan cut? Well, I should have read that comment before I answered, but we just answered that. I think there's locker room problems. Joey thinks he sucks. TJ Maxx plays, if we lose to Bengals, I'm wearing tank tops for the rest of the year. Thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
TJ. We're starting a revolution.
We got number 2 on board.
Yeah, you can buy a tank top. And I have some good news about the apparel. I guess this is an appropriate time to say it.
Sure.
We were using one source for apparel that's, pretty good. You go on their website, jagsunited.com. You can buy apparel. But it takes too long to get there. And people are like, gosh, it's taking me 3 weeks to get my apparel.
Yeah, Wuhan is like really far
Yeah,
away.
it's because we third-partied the merchandise to a company. We're taking on that inventory ourselves, coming here soon.
I like how I find out stuff on the podcast.
Live show. Yeah, well, I forget until we start talking about
Yeah,
it.
that's great. So what's the news?
So now, if starting in like next week, if you buy a shirt on the website, you'll have it in a week rather than 3 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah. So
I might actually have a tank top of my own.
if you're thinking about buying apparel tonight, don't do it. Just wait like a week.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair
That's
enough.
what I'm to say.
All right, makes sense.
Julian Alvarez says, do it. We will lose. We're going to lose anyways. Zach Becker, if you have to go for quarterback, are you comfortable in taking Fields? Or if we didn't get the number 1, would you both first for the number 1?
Dude, I'm saying throw all the picks we have, whatever it takes to get Lawrence. If nobody will trade, because, I mean, that happens. Like, if other teams believe that he is that elite, they might not be willing to take anything for him. And if that happens, I mean, Fields is a solid quarterback, so I still think we take him. I mean, I think you got to.
You have to. You have to fix the quarterback position.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know what kind of trades will be available for like an existing guy. I haven't looked at that. It's kind of early for that. Do you know who's coming up for a contract year?
for quarterbacks. No one.
They all get re-signed.
Yeah,
anyway,
no one
right?
good goes to the open market.
Fair enough. So yeah, Fields. If nothing else works.
Julian Alvarez says we have the whole 5th round pick, which whatever. Max Hardwick Brown says Minshew has had 2 bad games as a 6th round pick last year. One where he was missing his number 1 receiver. I'm personally going to hold my breath on him until the end of the year.
Dude, I love Minshew, but there's more than that. I mean, he was overthrowing guys. His pocket presence is probably the main thing, in my opinion. And that's what leads to the sacks and the fumbles, is that he doesn't know when to stay, when to leave the pocket. And that could be because, we're getting destroyed. But he's got to get he's got a great feel for it when he's on the move and pretty much when he has time. But when he's in the pocket, he doesn't know what to do.
Invisible Colors kind of agrees with Max when he says, I still believe in Minshew. It would be nice if we took the ball when we won the toss.
That's a great point, and I've been asking that like all week. I mean, we've gone what?
That shouldn't matter. That shouldn't matter.
Why would you keep deferring the ball when you go
because
down 14-0,
that's what you do.
14-0, 28-0?
Because as a coach, you'd rather have the ball in the second half.
Not when your team starts slow and you need to get.
See,
ahead.
I don't subscribe to the fact that if you get up early, you're going to create some sort of momentum that's going to carry you to a win. The NFL games are long enough to where if you go down early and you're the better team, you still win.
But we're not the better team, and I'm not.
That's
saying
what I'm saying.
I'm not saying that when we go up early, it creates momentum. I'm saying when we go down 14 points, it deflates momentum. So I mean,
see, I think if you're good, you're good. You're bad, you're bad.
But we're bad. So why not mix it up? Why keep doing the same thing?
Because good teams defer. That's why, and that's why good teams defer.
Right.
That's what they do.
But we're not good.
That's true. If we lose to the Bengals, I'm wearing tank tops the rest of the year, says TJ Maxx. Okay, I already read that, and we're with that 100%. I got to get caught up here in the comments. Zach Becker says Baltimore's looking rough. Dude, it seems like the receivers always choke up in the big games. They had a bunch of drops. I was watching the game before Joey got here, and they were just dropping balls left and right. And I was like, well, it's not how you win games.
We saw Baltimore has 4 losses in the past 3 years, and 3 of the 4 are to KC.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Max Hardwick Brown says, not to mention Conley literally killed 3 drives. Yeah,
Dude, he crushed momentum. You want to talk about momentum?
I've never been a big fan of Chris Conley, and I think anyone that watches or listens,
evident.
I'm just gonna say I told you so.
No, you're right.
That's all I'm gonna say about Chris Conley.
You cannot drop the balls that you drop. Bottom line.
Gabriel Grecu says we need to hand the ball to James Robinson more. He only had 11 carries. He did have 80 yards though.
Dude, that guy's been a stud.
Yeah, and that's the thing is all of Minshew's completions and yards came on checkdowns to Robinson, and he would yards after the catch, 10 or 15. And it's just like I've seen Minshew make throws down the field to Chark. It just seems like Minshew is so dependent on DJ Chark. Doesn't it seem like that? It's so weird because there was games at the end. There was games last year where Minshew didn't have Chark, or teams took Chark out of the game, and he couldn't do anything either.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like he almost needs a guy that can make a play, which is not atypical from a star, but you don't want to have to rely on it.
I think he trusts Chark, and he doesn't necessarily trust the rest of our great receivers, as everybody says. And when that trust factor is not there, he's not willing to take a risk and make a mistake.
Yeah, that's
which
true.
I mean, again, that's not how your team should be, but I think that's it, man. I think that's his one guy he knows. If he chucks it up there, he's going to bring the ball down.
And he will.
Yeah.
Oatmax says, what happens when Trevor Lawrence is the next Blaine Gabbert? Our history has shown we love draft busts with a high first round. I'm not sold on Trevor or Minshew, just in limbo.
What was that guy's name?
Oatmax.
Oatmax, I hate you.
I think you have a fair point, but I'm not going to agree with you.
You can't compare Gabbert to
Lawrence,
man.
I think
come on.
I'm sold on Lawrence, man. The dude's the real deal. He really is.
I mean, short of just an absolute injury that limits him, that guy's going to be a stud. No doubt.
I was one of the last people on the Andrew Luck hype train because I didn't watch a lot of him. Played on the West Coast. I have to see it with my own eyes to be a believer. I watched Andrew Luck after the hype got pretty high on him, and I was like, okay, this dude is going to be really good.
Dude, he plays for a major school. He's won championship. He's a winner. He checks all the boxes. I mean, his freshman year, you could tell that he was elite. He could have come out of it then and been a starter. Dude.
Yeah. And some players do regress, but he's not a guy that has regressed. And his, intangibles are through the roof.
The fact he's even playing this season, I wouldn't have.
I'm more sold on him than I've been. I haven't been, and this doesn't really speak great about my opinion, but I haven't been this sold on a quarterback since Jameis Winston. And I know he wasn't good.
He looked good out of the college.
But he was good in 2012 at Florida State. He was really good.
Really good.
Andrew Luck. I was huge on Andrew Luck. Those are the last two guys I could ever think that I'm pretty big on Joe Burrow, but still I'm not as big on Burrow as I am Lawrence.
Well, Burrow's got less of a resume. He really only had
That's
one
true.
year that you could back that on.
But that 1 year was like one of the most dominant years of all
It's
time.
the best ever.
Yeah.
But he's building on it. But, Lawrence has proven himself from the second he stepped on the field.
Yeah. I'm telling you guys, it sucks, and it is going to be a painful season. But if we could get Trevor Lawrence, it is worth it. I'm telling you. I know it hurts.
We've got to change.
Sucks.
Got to change Jacksonville.
But it's worth it. I'm telling you, he's really good. And I know people are so sick of it, and I'm usually that guy because the tank for blank seems to be every year in Jacksonville. But I'm telling you, this is a generational guy. I'm back on Trevor Lawrence. My dog Wydock5000 says, "Yo, Trevor Train is here. It's here.
Trevor Train.
It's here, and y'all are going to be happy when he's here. But we just have to get there. That's going to be that bridge is going to be hard getting there. Don't give up on us, Jags.
That's the thing. The right expectations. It's not necessarily going to be a bad year to watch. They're a fun team to watch on offense, which was my point months ago. I'd rather lose every game 35-30 and them be exciting to watch than what we've had in the past year or two. And we get Trevor Lawrence. Whatever, man. We're not going to win many games, but they might be fun in some of those losses.
Not only could they get Trevor Lawrence next year, not to harp on this, and we'll get to your comments here because we want to hear what y'all have to say, but you could also get another dude in the first round next year. So where you invested two guys on defense this year with Henderson and Chazon, who are looking like great picks.
Great picks.
You could do that again next year with Lawrence and a receiver or a lineman or someone like that. I would say receiver, maybe a tight end if you want to. I don't know. Hell, if Kyle Pitts finds his way here, I think for anyone that watched that Gator game,
saucy.
Kyle Pitts looks like the best tight end that's ever played the game.
Ever.
So we'll see what happens there.
That's a great point you bring up. They nailed their draft picks this year.
Yeah.
You can't not. And then undrafted.
LaVisca looks good.
Robinson.
Yeah,
they've got a lot of young talent that is going to be cheap for 3 more years after this year. But you got to get a quarterback in a couple other spots, man. A lot of defense.
Max says, yeah, it's hard to expect our offense to keep coming back from 2 scores. I'm personally one to defer. We can't keep putting our offense at a disadvantage.
I'm saying try it. Try it one game. Try it against Cincinnati.
You want the ball to start the second half. Good teams defer. The Patriots always defer.
I get that.
You defer.
Just try it. Just try it one time. Come on, Marone. One time.
Oatmax. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Oatmax has another good point I picked up on. Every quarterback has bad games, but even the rest of the starters right now don't have awful games like Minshew did. To be an elite, your worst game can't be how bad it was Thursday. It can't. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
You can't knock that statement. That's dead on.
Brent Papino says, could Minshew's bad play last week be because of bad O-line, no Cam Robinson, and no Chark?
I don't think so, man. Because Chark maybe, but the O-line not necessarily. Because the sacks he took, I think some of those were him leaving the pocket when he shouldn't have. In my opinion.
I think Minshew's play was exasperated by not having Cam Robinson, Conley's drops, Chark not being there. But there's just something about quarterbacks that are elite that can overcome all those things. And you don't have to have an elite quarterback to win the Super Bowl, but it helps. And there may be 2 elite quarterbacks coming out next year. The Jags are in a position to get one of those 2 guys. We all saw what happened.
Is that Trevor Lawrence and Kyle Trask?
I was going to say Justin Fields, but you could probably find an entire group of people that would agree with you.
We'll see at the end of the year.
We saw some comparisons on Twitter with Kyle Trask and Josh Allen.
Yeah, I can see that. Big arm. Yeah, he's not as mobile, though. Trask runs like Brady.
Yeah, Trask looks kind of awkward getting out of the pocket.
Yeah.
But enough for our Gators United podcast. I guess we can move on to more of the comments. TJ Maxx Play says Trevor Lawrence is like Deshaun Watson with more accuracy. I would love him on our team. He is. That's a good comparison. I think he's more athletic than Deshaun Watson, too.
He's bigger.
All that. Julian Alvarez says Robinson for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
He keeps it up, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without a doubt.
He had a quiet 83 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns, 46 yards, 11 carries.
He was the first undrafted rookie free agent running back to ever go for over 300 all-purpose yards and multiple touchdowns in their first 2 games. Think about that. In the history of the NFL.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, our ticker is full of typos. Ignore our ticker tonight. If you're watching for our inaugural Zoom in episode where I found out how to zoom in the camera.
Has it always been wrong and now you can just see it? Or is it?
No, I didn't change the record. I forgot a J in the word Jaguars. We'll just ignore that,
So
guys.
you completely
Forgive
dropped
us.
the ball in the ticker.
Forgive us. It was a long week last week.
Fair enough.
I had, whatever.
I didn't realize you even updated it. I thought it was the same thing every time.
Oh,
so
come on, Joe.
Fair enough.
You know me better than that. Zach Becker says, well, after that game, let's just say I definitely won't be getting a Minshew tattoo that he was talking about last week. I would say that's fair, although I do have a Minshew sticker on my Yeti here. Max Hardwick Brown's going to hit us in the heart with this comment. He says, with Foles starting now, let's hope Brady goes down and all of Denver's quarterbacks do well so we can have 4 Jags quarterbacks starting in the NFL.
So that would be Henne, Bortles, Foles.
Not Henne. He's not starting. He's talking about starting. Foles,
If somebody
Bortles.
goes down.
Oh, yeah. I bet you he wasn't accounting for Henne.
That was Mahomes. So Mahomes goes down too.
Yeah.
He got 5. That's amazing.
Yeah. That's true.
I got a great. I'll tease this before the break.
Oh.
I've got a good question about backup quarterbacks. So
Okay. We'll probably take a break in like 10 minutes.
all right, so let me know.
TJ Maxx Plays says he was trying to use Conley like he was Chark, but Conley kept
Dropping
selling.
the ball.
Selling out, maybe. So I don't blame that game on Minshew, and I feel like most of his mistakes happened because of the big lead the Dolphins had.
Dude, it's tough in the NFL to come back from 14 points down right away. I mean, it was more than that. It was like 28 what?
It was 28-7, like the
Yeah.
entire
I
game.
mean, come on.
So, Wydock 5K says, speaking of college quarterbacks, Burrow was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, people don't realize how good he was. He was like one of the best ever.
Yeah, they have a horrible offensive line, and he's like still playing lights out.
Brent Papino says, Lawrence has won multiple big games. Odds on those quarterbacks usually are more hits than busts. Yeah, I mean, I'll live and die by Trevor Lawrence. I mean, we saw Tua get the horrific injury the year before he was supposed to come out, and he fell to what? Would he go 7? 5 or 7? I can't remember.
Tops.
That's the level that Lawrence is on. Like, if he has a huge injury, he would still be taking top 5.
I think it goes back also to like Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson. We were both wanted them to take both of those guys more than anything because they're winners, man.
Yeah.
You can see it. They win. It doesn't matter how they win. They just win. Lawrence is the same way, but he's better than that. He wins and he's like elite skill. So, I mean, I wouldn't put this out there for many people, but I would be absolutely amazed if he's not a Hall of Fame quarterback.
I agree. And I'm not a guy to throw that around lightly. I know you're not either. Brett E says, I hate to say, but I hope we don't win any more games because we need an elite quarterback.
We could win one more.
I'd be cool with losing. I know it sucks. And even during the games, I'm going to be there rooting for the Jags to win because I'm unable to lose. I would to root for a Jags loss. I watch games with people sometimes who are actively rooting for the Jags to lose.
Yeah, no, I would never do that.
Unfathomable to me. There's no way I could ever do that. In the moment, I'm going to be rooting for the Jags. If you follow our Twitter at Jaguars_United, I'm going to be tweeting all my emotions and feelings. I got pretty feisty this last weekend on Twitter.
You're heated?
Yeah, and I feel kind of bad because I feel like our people that follow us like kind of expect more like professional content. But I was
dogging
anything
the Jaguars,
but that last week. So
like tweeting actual players?
no, I would never stoop down that low.
Not yet.
Not yet. It's only week 3. Julian Alvarez says, I am happy because the Jags Thursday night lost, Friday night FSU lost, Saturday night, and then the Heat made the finals. Hopefully this continues. Marlins and the Heat win. Jags win Sunday, and FSU wins Saturday. Well, I can tell you one team on that list that's not going to win, and that's FSU. There's 0% chance FSU. They could win one game this year and be.
2 is you look at their schedule. 2 is their top end.
I never dog teams that don't deserve it, but FSU deserves it. That's a pitiful team that it has no talent.
And the bad part is, like, I couldn't even make fun of, like, my FSU fans at work today because they're so bad. Like, I felt bad for them. Like, even when the Gators were horrible with McChompers and all that, like, we still were better than that. I mean, it was like you still had a chance to win some games. I mean, they looked like a bad high school team. They have no – I mean, they might not win another game.
And I don't think it's anything to speak of Norvell. I like Mike Norvell.
I agree.
I would love him to be a coach of a team I was running. There's just the cupboards are bare.
Well, the good news is they're going to have him for 4 or 5 years guaranteed.
And that's fine.
They cannot pay anybody else.
I mean, he'll right the ship. They just got to be patient, like the Jags fans. Wydock says, I like Trevor. I hope we get him. Do you guys think that we will get many wins to get him? Do you think we would trade up for him? And Watson is what a good quarterback looks like with no O-line, not Minshew. Damn.
Ooh, that's a great
Wydock.
comparison. Actually, the end of the second, I don't understand the first part of that comment, but the second half of that comment, that's dead on, dude.
Yeah. Wydock dropped the hammer there. Although I will defend Minshew a tad here by saying that Watson has way better receivers than Minshew ever had.
And
I mean, even with the loss of DeAndre Hopkins, like what quietly happened in this, like,
Will Fuller is like a stud.
With this public murder of Bill O'Brien trading DeAndre Hopkins, he quietly assembled 3 guys that were like might be combined better. They have Brandon Cooks, Will Fuller, and who's the other guy they have? Randall Cobb. They got 3 dudes on that team that are like legit players.
Cobb went off last week too. I mean,
We have DJ Chark, who's injured.
And then, like, it's a big drop-off after
and then
that.
Conley, and then a rookie in Chenault, and then
going to be good.
Keelan Cole. Like, the receiving situation in Houston is significantly better.
Lighters.
That was my whole point all offseason. There's been 1 week this year where I thought the Jags weren't tanking, and that was after the week 1 win. Because they gave Minshew no help. They drafted Laviska Shenault. What? Okay, yeah, he's good. He's better than anyone thought.
He's a rookie, though.
Yeah. What else have they done? They cut Fournette. They didn't bring in any. They brought in Tyler Eifert. Okay, Tyler Eifert was tight end 2 at Cincinnati. Okay, you're telling me that would move the needle? They didn't upgrade the offensive line at all when there was glaring holes at 2 guard positions. So don't tell me they're trying to help out Minshew. People will misinterpret my love for Trevor Lawrence as I hate Minshew when I love Minshew, but the Jags did nothing to help Minshew.
And that probably says a lot about what they think about Minshew, like deep down.
Yeah. So I hope Minshew goes on somewhere else and is the starter and is good. And I'm rooting for that more than anything, just like I am with Bortles, because they haven't given anyone here a fair shot because of the ineptitude of this front office.
I heard a thing today that said that was passionate. Is that the one you were talking about earlier?
That's just the beginning, Joey.
You just getting you started. I heard a thing today that said that Minshew is a young Fitzmagic.
They're completely different types of people.
They are types of people. I'm talking about what their career is going to be like.
Maybe.
And going forward, he's going to be fine. He's going to be in the league for like 10, 15 years. He's going to be on a bunch of teams. He's going to light it up sometimes. He's going to have bad games here. He's going to be that guy. He's going to make a ton of money. He's going to be him. I mean, and good for him. But he's not a franchise Super Bowl winning quarterback.
That comparison is pretty good.
And sad.
Pretty good. I now that the more I kind of digest that, I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
But he's going to be fun.
Yeah.
But just not for us.
Invisible Color says our safety play is horrible. Do you think Thursday's games should get canned? Well, I think they have to play one Thursday night. The NFL tried to make it the most uninteresting 2 teams. They gave 2 teams they thought were heading south. It turns out the Dolphins are like coached by one of the most
He is a good coach.
Yeah, innovative coaches. I love Brian Flores. I wish he was in Jacksonville.
It did get the worst ratings out of a Thursday night game in the past 4 years. Just saying.
Which I'm surprised because the Jags have had some pretty bad Thursday night matchups the last couple of years.
This was the worst.
Brent Papino says, you were a little saucy, Jason. Everyone deserves an off game. Okay, I never get too saucy to where my Twitter game goes off because if I ever do, which would be few and far between, I'm smart enough to know to put the phone away.
The thing is, though, is like,
don't worry about that.
Does anybody actually believe that was an off game? Or is it everybody believe that was the Jags showing what we all thought they were going to be like in the preseason?
I mean, that's the team everyone thought.
Yes.
Not everyone, everyone in Jacksonville, but like everyone in the national
That's what
media.
Everybody
That's what
thought
everyone
was
thought
going
was
to show
going
up.
to be it. And that, honestly, like I rewatched the game today. It took me a long time to rewatch it. I didn't want to because I wanted to just forget it. I wanted to, as the coaches say, throw the film away. But when I did rewatch it, it reminded me of a lot of games last year when Minshew could do nothing in the first 3 quarters and then decided to wake up in the fourth quarter, and all they did by wake up in the fourth quarter was score 6 points. So,
I mean, beside the offense, the offense is going to be the highlight of our season, without a doubt. That's the only chance we have to have a highlight.
if Chark plays.
If Chark plays, he's going to be back next week. They'll give him the shots, and he'll be all right. But our defense is going to be horrible. We're not going to bring anybody in unless, we don't even have somebody to play. They'll pick up some random dude from a practice squad just to fill a slot and pay him $500,000. They're not going to fix the defense, and our defense is horrible. We've got 3 good players.
That's fair. We have more than 3 good players. We have 2 good players now, and then we have 3 players that are going to be good the next couple years.
I'm not talking about young players. I'm talking about this year. Players that are going to make a difference on defense consistently.
Right,
We've got maybe 3 of them.
Yeah. Moon Illusion says, "What's up, Moon Illusion, bro? 35 minutes in.
Where you been, dude?
Come on, you better have a good. Your girlfriend better have been badgering you tonight for you to be 35 minutes late.
Where you been, Chica? We don't really know, right? Moon Illusion, that could go either way.
I don't know. Moon Illusion is. I'm a little worried because we can usually count on him. He must have been. I bet you was having some problems with his lady.
I think he passed out and just woke up.
That's probably what
Just
happened.
saying.
He said, "Why did we cut Jernigan?" Our best guess was there was a locker room issue, and they were like, "You're not worth the trouble. See ya." That's the only reason people get cut, or to make room for someone they like better, which they haven't brought on yet. Doesn't mean it won't happen tomorrow.
Or that was the one position we might have had a teeny weeny tiny bit of depth, and we wanted to be depth 3 at all positions on defense. I don't know.
Makes no sense to me. All of our D tackles have opted out due to COVID. Let's cut the only guy that's pretty good. Oatmax says, "Would you take Jonathan Cyprien or Josh Jones?" Well,
Cyprien's still playing?
I would take Josh. I don't think Cyprien's playing anymore.
Dude, Josh Jones has actually played pretty decent.
He wasn't great last week, but I would. You would have to pay me money for me to ever want Jonathan Cyprien back on this team.
The worst tackler in the history of football.
Yeah. Julian Alvarez says he predicted D-Hop to Arizona the year before he was traded, so that next year we get him, Watson for us for AJ Can.
Huh?
I probably just misread that. Nate says he wouldn't overreact to one game. Plenty of good teams are 0-3. People are so emotional and look like absolute fools 2 weeks later. Always happens the same way.
I'll counter that. We overreacted to 2 games. The first game that we won and the second game that we almost came back on. That was an overreaction. This week, not an overreaction. They suck, guys.
I agree with that 100%, which is very rare with us.
It is. But it's just
maybe it's the
factual.
new Zoom. Maybe it's the new Zoom camera that we
think
agree.
it is.
We agree.
We're closer. We're closer on camera.
For those of you that I wish one day
you're so pumped about this new Zoom.
We'll Instagram live maybe during the break. Instagram during the break. Follow our Instagram. I'm gonna put a live show of what it looks like for us. It's kind of a cool little setup here.
It is. It's actually really legit.
We can see us on one screen, and then we can see our audio levels on our other monitor over here. And we're so zoomed in right now. I don't know what to think. I can see Joey.
Jason feels close. He wants a hug.
Yeah. So maybe now we're agreeing on some things more often,
which is not a bad thing.
But I think this is a good time to take a break. I need to take a break, but we also need to take a break for our podcast listeners. If you're listening to the podcast, thank you so much. Shout out to the Big Cat Country feed. Support the sponsors that are going to be coming up here on the podcast, or like most people do, probably just fast forward through it, but I don't think they like us saying that. If you're watching the live show on YouTube, which we highly recommend because it's awesome and you can comment and be a part of it, just give us 2 minutes and we will be right back like we usually are.
I'm going to throw out that
I'm so glad you
question.
Remembered. Yes. Give us a teaser, Joey. Give us a teaser
question, which is going to be, who is the all-time best backup quarterback in the NFL? Is it Fitzmagic or is it Nick Foles?
That's a good question, and we can talk about that when we get back. I don't know how we're going to prove a correct answer because it seems kind of anecdotal.
Well, it's based on how many people answer either way.
That's true.
It's like a poll almost.
So
in your
give
comments.
us your answers in the chat. Who would you rather have, Nick Foles or Fitzmagic? We're going to take a quick break, a couple minutes, and we'll be right back. And we're back. Thank you guys so much. I've been hanging around on the YouTube. It didn't seem like we lost too many viewers there, which is awesome. for listening to the podcast. Make sure to check us out on YouTube. We have more downloads on our podcasts than listens on our YouTube, but quite frankly, we love our YouTube people way more.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the legit interaction. Like, that's what keeps it going.
So get on the YouTube, even if you don't catch it live. Maybe you have to work early, you go to bed early. You can watch our episodes live on YouTube. Just search up Jaguars United. You can also check out our Twitter, our Instagram, Jaguars United. Look it up. We have a website, jagsunited.com. Me and Joey are sitting here. We got UCF Jaguar in the chat.
About time.
One of our boys. You know, me and UCF Jaguar talked about doing a show last week, and unfortunately, I couldn't. My work schedule, it sucks during the first half of football season. But once we get to, if the Jags were ever good,
you'd like make time for it?
We'd be killing it. No, I'm just saying we'd be killing it because, I mean, my schedule opens up in the second half. My job, I work at a school and in athletics, and my job opens up in the second half of the season, and the Jags are usually out by then. So
it's true. Like when there's actually time to talk about them, nobody wants to talk about
them.
Which might be next week.
We'll see what happens. We'll talk about next week here in a little bit. We appreciate UCF Jaguar being in the chat, and we appreciate all you guys being in the chat. We teased the question before the break. Backups, greatest backup of all time. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick and Nick Foles are on that list probably of guys that are career backups. And who would you rather have?
Does somebody have a better one? That'd be more impressive.
Just now I was trying to think of one. I mean, when Mike Vick was a backup for a while, was he pretty good backup?
He's not like
I know.
He's not like a journeyman, like legit.
Yeah, you're right.
I think Minshew's going to become that guy. Is my point. It's kind of why I teased that question.
Yeah.
When there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, Fitzmagic's made like $70 million over a 15-year career, and great for him. And he's had an amazing experience, I'm sure.
And we see guys like looking like Jeff Driscoll might be that guy.
Yeah.
Andy Dalton might be that guy here coming up.
The McCowns, like
the McCowns, you're right. Yeah, I mean, there's guys for sure.
Honestly, it's the best job in football.
Besides kicker, which we
there's some pressure on kickers.
Yeah, you gotta be a good kicker. But TJ Moon Illusion says he took a 2-hour nap, and that's why he wasn't here on time.
I told you.
Yeah.
Me and Moon are like kindred spirits.
Yeah. So for that we have definitely Foles, says Christian Ladier. Big Dick Nick says Moon Illusions.
Moon.
Julian Alvarez says Fitz has had success. Foles was a backup of one playoffs when he had success. Fitz over Foles. Wydock says neither of the old quarterbacks can last behind our O-line, but I would take Foles. Julian Alvarez, Foles is probably better for big moments than to have a starter or to put as a starter and as injured. Goat the Vikings says Florida bringing home another NHL championship, which I'm assuming is referring to the Stanley Cup game tonight, which I haven't. You know, usually I watch Stanley Cup Finals games, but
Jason cared so much about that tease and that question that he's going to hockey now. So
are you asking me to pick between Magic and Foles?
You're good. While you're looking that up, take your time. I'll actually give my input on it.
All right, give us
I think Fitzmagic is the best of all time because of his tenure doing it. The dude is a Harvard graduate. They don't go play pro football. They go to like be a senator or a congressman or a CEO. Instead, he went to play football, and he's probably had the most consistent success with lots of starts as well as that guy. Foles obviously is the most accoladed. I mean, he's won a Super Bowl for how crazy that is, and probably made way more money. But I mean, it's kind of a unique comparison. The point of me asking that question is I don't think Minshew is going to be our guy, but I think we're going to hear about Minshew for a long time, and he's going to have a storied career as that type of player. And there's nothing wrong with that at all.
If I can just say, Joey, not one of your stronger teasers.
Can
usually rely on Joey for some pretty bomb teasers.
I thought that was pretty interesting, though. I mean,
I gotta say, I wasn't intrigued with the backup quarterback conversation. I'm just gonna be honest
because you're looking up hockey. It's not even a freaking sport we talk about in this podcast.
Congratulations to the Tampa Bay Lightning.
But Florida hockey.
Congratulations to the Lightning, who won their second Stanley Cup tonight. I got some family members that are big Lightning fans. I'm sure they're ecstatic and watching at this very moment. Does it really count, though, when it's in a bubble in Canada? Does it really
At least
count?
They're in Canada where the sport's actually legitimate, so yeah.
That's true. Goat the Viking. Florida's bringing home another NHL championship. Let's go. Brandon 0522. I just heard Timmy Jerry going to be released by Jags. I feel late to the news.
Why does everybody care about that so much? Like, I read the thing today. I was like,
He was good at one point.
At one point.
He's not so good anymore.
I mean, but honestly, I didn't even like.
The Jags are trying to lose. How have we not gotten that yet? They're trying to lose.
Maybe that's why I've got the right mentality. I'm like,
I can't say it any other way.
I didn't even think twice about that. I was just like, oh yeah, all right.
Joey's wearing tank tops every single episode this season.
Yeah.
I am rooting for the Jags to win, but the Jags are trying to lose.
Yes.
Okay, they are.
And the thing with that is, like, we've had some first two games they played their butt off. Didn't so much last game, but eventually that's going to stop.
Yeah,
players are going to stop going all out when they're lost 7 games in a row or whatever it may be. So it's going to get worse, guys. It's not going to get better.
Yeah, it's going to get worse. But it's not a bad strategy because I do like Trevor Lawrence, like we've said over and over again. Yeah. I like the strategy. Trevor Lawrence is going to be a beast here. He's going to bring Dabo Swinney here.
Dude, that would
it's going to be great. We might get Travis Etienne in the first round, combine him with James Robinson, bring the band back together from Clemson, wins a couple Super Bowls, and you're going to look back to this moment and be like, it was worth it.
Plus, it's way easier for Dabo to pay players in the NFL than it is in college.
If Dabo's paying players, everyone's paying players. Let's put it that way. TJ Maxx says Earl Thomas is working out with the Texans. Do you think he'll sign? The Texans are 0-3. This smells like a desperation move to me.
Well, plus,
oh crap. Bill O'Brien's saying oh crap right now.
Well, yeah, because they were picked to win the division before the season started. I mean, he's got to be saying oh crap. But Earl Thomas, man, he's got that flag at this point of kind of like a Jalen Ramsey, just cancer in the locker room. I mean, that's why he's been on 3 or 4 teams in the past 5 years. He's a good player. I mean, he's older, but he's still a good player. But the guy's a a-hole from what I hear.
Yeah, those aren't the type of guys that come in Jacksonville. But I mean, yeah, like I said, Bill O'Brien's probably in panic mode. He's probably done. I mean, if they don't make the playoffs this year, he's fired, which is kind of unfair. But when you're the GM coach and you haven't really made a good run and you've had the time that he's had, that's how it goes.
And a good quarterback.
Yeah, great quarterback.
Who else do you blame at that point when you're in charge of everything?
That's true. That is a good point. Nate says Jernigan wanted to finish his career here, LOL. Well, he did. Probably.
Oh, that was awesome.
Max Hardwick Brown says, speaking of hockey, I live in a city where the NHL bubble is.
Ooh, is that Vancouver?
Somewhere in Canada. It hurts really bad that this was the first time the Cup's in the building. My team won't be playing anywhere near it.
You know what? I actually like that. The Cup, the bubble is in Canada and a Florida team won.
Yeah,
that's gonna piss off every Canadian on the planet.
Well, I gotta tell you, I used to be a pretty big hockey fan. Huge Colorado Avalanche fan. Long story, not get into it now. Grew up a huge Avalanche fan. The Avalanche actually made it to the Western Conference Finals and lost to the Stars. So I had a good run watching the NHL this year.
Hey, I'm not a hockey fan. I used to play 95, hockey on Sega
Genesis, NHL 95.
Bomb.
That was the bomb.
Pittsburgh Penguins.
Oh, man. The Rangers were good in that game.
Come on.
They had Jaromir Jagr.
Oh,
gosh, those were the days.
No, those were fun. But hockey's a great sport. But, I mean, really, we're in the middle of talking about football and you're going to hockey. I mean,
while we're talking about Jaromir Jagr, can I take this moment?
It's one of the best segue ever.
Can I take this moment? So there's this local game show called Beat the Brains. I talk about it all the time where we went up against
sportscasters,
like if you
professionals,
right? If you follow the Jags, you know who Cole Palmer or not Cole. What's his name? Cole Pepper.
Cole
Pepper. We went up against all these
Beef. Was it Beef or was it Hacker?
Hacker. We went up against all these guys, and one of the questions I can't remember the question, but I went head to head with Cole Pepper, and the answer was Jaromir Jagr. And guess who buzzed in and got that in right away?
It had to be you because you guys won. That's impressive.
So Jaromir Jagr was the answer to a trivia question where I beat Jaguar writers game show on.
I have to say, I watched it afterwards, and it was impressive. I mean, these guys, the old guys that do it for a living every single day, were so mad
they got waxed.
They got beat by these young guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it was awesome.
Hey, That's how it goes.
That's pretty awesome.
That's how
You
it
got
goes.
it on VHS, right?
Probably
All
somewhere.
right, sweet.
Nate, feel like T-Law could be out of reach due to Jets or Giants. Fields is probably the guy.
Giants are pretty awful.
Yeah, but I feel like they have their quarterback. So they'll just trade the Jags. They'll swap first, and we'll give them a.
That could be an ideal situation.
We'll give them a
for us.
third. We'll give one of our fifths. We'll give them 4 of our fifths. How about that? We'll give them 4 of our 5th round picks we have next year. And
Here's Minshew, a second and 3 fifths.
here's every pick in the 5th round. We'll take the first overall pick. Thank
you
you
go.
for doing business with us.
Yeah.
Brandon 0522 says, "Do you think Jay Gruden is in charge next year?"
I hope not. I think Gruden is a fantastic offensive coordinator, but a horrible head coach.
I would love Jay Gruden, but I want Dabo. So that's where I'll stand. I'm cool, Jay Gruden, but I want Dabo. TJ Maxx says, hopefully Jets and Giants can win 3 or 4 lucky games and we win 1 or 2 and get Trevor. So I have noticed the people in the chat are on board with the Trevor Lawrence thing, but I have noticed the people in the chat have gone down. So is that a correlation between people getting mad at us?
Good, you guys. I'm out.
Yeah. A lot of people have told us that. They told us they're tired of hearing about Trevor Lawrence. They told us they're tired of hearing about tanking, and I get it. That's
Hey,
fair.
but you know what? Week 12, welcome back.
Week 12, Joey and me are going to be in here talking about whatever show's popular on Netflix because the
Hey.
Jags will be 1-10.
Yeah, what are you streaming this week?
And we'll still have all of you guys in the comments with us here on Monday night, and I can't wait for it for some honest
We'll
conversation.
be like, how about that weather we're having?
But Monday nights at 10, we'll be here. Max says it's in Edmonton. Pretty interesting that the 2/3 furthest south teams played in the finals in the northernmost city in the NHL.
Edmonton, that's the land of the Oilers, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, I'm a hockey guy.
Yeah. YDoc 5K says, I'm not sold on Fields. Tony P says, I'm tired of Doug Marrone. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sold on Fields yet either. But, I mean, I feel like if he has one more year like he did last year, then I think we all will be.
Is he going to get to have that year, though?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to
aren't
play
they
some
playing
games.
like 6 games or something?
No, they're playing more. They're playing 10. Or, no, they're playing 8.
I don't know. I mean, Fields is an unknown. I still think, again, he's not Burrow playing like the best year a quarterback's ever had in college football. He had a really good year last year. He doubles that up again. Yeah, I mean.
I like Fields' game because he reminds me of Mike Vick in a way of where he.
I was thinking Deshaun Watson, but yeah.
I don't think he's quite. Well, I don't think he has the size of Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's not big, but I don't think Justin Fields is either.
Is he really smaller than him?
I'll have to look it up because I'm probably
That's
sounding
kinda
like an
scary if he
idiot right
was.
now, not knowing what Justin Fields. 6'3". Okay, just feels a little bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's that hair, though. That's like 2 inches.
yeah. So 6'3". I mean, decent size. Guy can run. He's 6'3". I'm on board. All right, you know what? I'm sold. One quick Google search. I'm on board with Justin Fields. Let's do it.
Now, you know what I love is that the Bulldogs got rid of him, and now they have quarterback trouble.
They had a different situation. They had like a Tebow Cam Newton type situation where Fields wanted to play.
Yeah, but Fields is garbage.
Fields is garbage?
I think so.
I don't know about that.
How's
Mack
he doing in the NFL?
Fields
Yeah.
is still in college.
He's not playing. Where's he playing?
Ohio State.
Oh, I forgot about that. All right.
TJ Maxx, if we beat Bengals, Texans, and Lions, do you think we'll still be tanking? No. If we beat those 3 teams, then we'll be 3-2, and we'll be in position for a wild card spot.
Yeah, but if we win the rest of our games, we're not tanking either.
That's what I'm saying.
That's not happening.
Our issue here, TJ, is on how we're viewing tanking. The players aren't trying to tank.
No.
So if they win the next 3 games, then I think they will have some momentum. That would mean they probably have stayed relatively healthy, whereas other teams haven't. So they may have a shot at that 8-8, and that's not tanking in my opinion. But if they lose 2 of those 3 and they go to 2-4, I think they're in tank mode because at 2-4 you're like mathematically eliminated from the Super Bowl, historically speaking, and you can't go on with Minshew. So yeah, I think you tank.
I really think the worst thing that could happen to us is 8-8 or 6 and whatever. I mean, it needs to be either we win maybe 1-2 more games or we win 9. There's no in between. Because the last thing we need is our front office making a decision on keeping Minshew or not. It needs to be night and day.
I cannot get over this Zoom, Joey. I mean, we look good on this screen, man. I mean, it is zoomed in. I'm glad I hit the gym today because I thought about not.
Oh, you should have told me I would have done
And
some
now
push-ups
I'm
before I
feeling
walked
kind
up
of
in
good with
here.
this zoomed-in
Oh,
camera with the Jags with one win.
Hey, maybe you could go play some defense for them. I mean, you
know?
got some size. You could play, 10, 12 snaps. You'd be all right.
I heard they're looking for a kicker.
There you go.
I heard they're
Something.
looking for a kicker. I have some experience kicking the football. I'm just going to say,
honestly,
guys, I have some experience.
I'm disappointed that Braces got hurt because I had the killer nickname for him, and now he's not playing anymore.
Bro,
did you see his
the
picture?
fact that dude came out and missed was it an extra point?
No, he hit the extra point.
Didn't he miss the extra point? Oh, he missed the field goal?
Yeah.
Like, it was like a 30-yard field goal. I just was like,
it was like a chip shot.
because we talked about on this, it was like the worst thing that could happen for this dude is for him to come out there and just miss the first field goal.
Did you see his picture though that they put out with the release of him being the starter?
I did not.
Dude, he's like, it was. You gotta look it up. It was like I gotta check. Like it was amazing.
I was how I would be too.
Oh, absolutely. It's
But
awesome.
God, I mean, the dude wasn't even accurate in college.
No, he's like 16 for like 25 at Georgia State. I mean, come on.
Those are the things. And again, I talked about this in the first segment.
You could have got somebody better.
You could have brought Hashuka in instead of this dude
Could brought
immediately.
anybody in, dude. There's like bajillion kickers out there that could have done better than that. Whatever.
TJ Maxx says it's either playoffs or Trevor for me. I don't want no in the middle like last year. Yeah.
I said that way better than I did.
I feel like that's kind of how we all feel about this situation is you don't want to be in the middle of the road.
No.
You don't want to be someone that kind of has a quarterback, kind of has a backup, fighting for the job. Just get Trevor Lawrence.
That's the thing. Going into the draft next year, sorry guys, we need a clear plan. And if we're middle of the road, we will not have that. We need to know this is what we got to do. This is what we're using our picks on. This is ultimately the only way we're going to be a winning team.
White Hawk says, what if the Jags are following the Chiefs building a high-powered offense, TL draft picks, and cap? When we look playoff ready, we go get the missing pieces on D like Clark and Matthews.
It's a great point because, I mean, KC's D that first year with Mahomes was a hot garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, they were awful, and they kind of built it up a little bit since then. When you got that much speed on offense, we got some speed on offense at this point. You get the quarterback like Mahomes. Our offensive line's playing pretty good. I mean, that's how the NFL's built this. That's the new game. We're just late to the party.
Well, hopefully, I mean, that's the thing. TL as in Trevor Lawrence. That's the thing about Trevor Lawrence is like the answer. Like people that are saying they're not sold on Trevor Lawrence, like you just haven't watched enough of him because he's consistent from week to week, whether he's playing Wake Forest or he's playing Oklahoma. It doesn't matter. Like he's going to be that same guy that makes the right throw and has the arm to make it. And that's all you want. And combine it with a guy that has his athleticism and his character and his leadership skills. That's a guy you want. And people are sick of hearing about him. But if we can find a way to get him, I'm okay losing 2020. We're all going to look back at 2020 and say it sucked anyways. So
Yeah,
why not
exactly.
Why not tank it?
I mean, it's like par for the course. Plus, I mean, look at him. He's also obviously very smart and can figure out a playbook because he steps in as a freshman and it looks like he's played the college game for 3 years. Why can't he do the same thing in the NFL? He will. I mean, that's, again, track record. Yeah. We're going to keep talking about him because he's special.
What if we're really bad and draft Trevor? Do we keep Minshew as our second team quarterback?
Yeah, we're not paying him anything. Why not?
I think you could get some trade value out of him.
Possibly. So good for that.
I liked your comparison with Ryan Fitzpatrick. And Ryan Fitzpatrick has had value from different times in his career.
Thank you, because Jason hated it. Appreciate that from whoever that was.
No, I said the moment you said that comparison, I said that's the first
It was
thing.
all part of the tease of the question, and it was all tied together, man. It was like a package.
I was talking about the comparison between, I think Minshew and Fitzpatrick will be the same type of guy in their careers.
I know, but that's what led to the backup quarterback question.
Question was bad.
All right,
Comparison was
At least
good.
half of it was good.
White Dog says name of the game is more points. Win. So maybe we ditched our D to build this new. We didn't ditch our D. We spent 2 of our first draft picks on defense.
Yeah, we're building for the future.
We drafted Josh Allen. We drafted K'Lavon Chaisson, and we drafted C.J. Henderson.
Yeah, which are going to be studs going forward.
You could have drafted Henry Ruggs. You could have drafted this last year. 2 years ago, you could have drafted T.J. Hawkinson, Henry Ruggs. This last year, you could have drafted any of these players in this. Who else? I can't remember. These guys were taken in the first round. You could have gone all offense, given Minshew an offensive lineman, a tight end to play 2 tight end sets, a receiver with Shenault. You could have drafted Shenault and Henry Ruggs. Okay. Indulge me for a moment, Joey.
I will.
Tyler Eifert, 1 tight end. T.J. Hawkinson, the other tight end. You run 2 tight ends. Laviska Shenault, DJ Chark, Henry Ruggs. Is Minshew gonna be that bad with that offense? Of course not.
No.
So if the strategy is to just build up the offense, that's what they would have done, and this offense would be like outscoring the Chiefs.
Yeah, but they didn't do that.
But they didn't do that. They spent all their picks on defensive players,
and they didn't bring anybody in free agency other than Sherbert because, and yes, I called him that on purpose, because they're going to do that in the draft next year as well. I mean, you can still get Lawrence and use other picks on. It's easy to fix defense. It's not easy. It's easier to fix defense than it is to fix offense. I mean,
that's true. Line. And through free agency, you can fix defense in the free agency.
Be under the cap going into next year. So it looks like they have a plan. Nobody likes the plan this year, but at least it seems like they kind of are going in a direction.
Mile High Jaguar says, let's hope Minshew is the answer. If we get Trevor, it means we still suck. Tired of being the laughingstock of the league, Minshew's the man. That's the part that hurts the most, is being the laughingstock hurts, and we've been it for so long.
You know what, dude, we're worse than the laughingstock. Nobody cares. Nobody's talking about us. We talk about us here because we love the Jags, and we're from Jacksonville and love Jacksonville. Dude, we're like a sidebar in every other conversation. Occasionally we'll get mentioned if something happens. Dude, we're not a laughingstock. We're not even worth our time.
I agree. White Ox says Minshew is a solid backup. I would love that. TJ says they probably ditched Jernigan to make space for potential pickup in free agency. That's probably true. And that's why I kind of wanted to hesitate on some of that, because I think that we will.
So we are going to bring somebody in.
I think they are about to bring a guy in at the defensive line position, a guy they like better maybe for the future. It could be a guy that we've never heard of before, but it's a guy I think they like for the future.
I hope so.
White Ox says we would build with next year's draft and cap. Brandon says, sorry, I'm working from home. I got a call. Is this Jay Gruden's team next year?
I still think no. I don't think he is a head coach. I think he's a almost elite offensive coordinator, though. But he's proven that as head coach, he doesn't do a good job.
I like Jay Gruden.
I didn't say I didn't like him.
You just said you don't think he would do a good job as head coach.
I don't. That doesn't mean I don't like him.
That means you don't like him as head coach. That's what I meant.
There we go.
I like him as head coach. The only chance he got was in Washington, where nobody's good. Nobody is good in Washington. Ron Rivera's not good in Washington, and he's one of the best coaches in the league, in my opinion. I think that Gruden could be a good head coach, and he would be my second pick besides Dabo. I really want Dabo here. Look, like I said, you draft Trevor Lawrence with your first pick. You draft Travis Etienne with your second first pick. Dabo is incentivized to make his jump to the NFL. He's got 2 of his college guys here. He can have full control of the team. Do whatever you want, Dabo. Pray before every game. I don't care what he does. He wants to do that. Great.
Dude,
turn the team over to him. That's my first choice.
I love Dabo. I think he's one of my favorite coaches. But the list of college coaches that make that jump that are actually good the first time around, super small.
That's true, but it does happen. Guys like Harbaugh make it. Guys like, Harbaugh.
Super small list. That's my point. I mean, look, Nick
There's
Saban.
More. I just don't feel like going through the thought.
Nick Saban, the greatest college coach ever at this point. I don't think there's much debate for that. Horrible in pros.
Spurrier, he got a fair
my
shake.
Personal god of college coaches, horrible in the pros.
They didn't get fair shots, I don't think.
Dude, who's the guy at Seattle?
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll sucked the first time around.
but now he's good.
Now, okay, I said first time around. That was a disclaimer.
What about
on
Cliff
that.
Kingsbury? He looks like he's gonna be a good coach.
He
came from college. He got fired from his college job. Fired from his Big 12 coaching job, and now May is an early candidate for Coach of the Year.
He's done a good job, Arizona. I agree.
DJM in the comments, and again, if you're listening to the podcast and you're 69 minutes into the podcast,
then you're solid.
First of all, salute to you. Second of all, you need to watch our shows on YouTube. They're way better.
Way more fun.
Pop them up while you're at work. We just talked to Brandon. He's watching from work. And you can see Joey and me. I haven't mentioned this yet, but we're zoomed in.
Dude.
Our camera has a zoom feature, which I just found out about after 2 years of recording.
If you mention the zoom one more time, I might zoom out of the room.
So you can see us in all of our glory on our YouTube channel. Search Jaguars United. Subscribe. Thumbs up. DJM says, did the Jags only lose because they didn't have Chark and Lambeau, or are we just that bad? We're just that bad. I was going to defer to you to this, but we're that bad. We're 28-7 going into the fourth quarter. Chark and Lambeau wouldn't have helped that.
No, I mean,
We're horrible. We're Swiss cheese. Our defense is literally Swiss cheese.
When I saw that,
My 7-on-7 flag football team could go out there and run, hey, you guys want to run 2 quick outs? Yeah. We would be able to get completions on this defense.
I have to agree.
It's pathetic. It is absolutely pathetic. Our defense is pathetic. And this is the defense that was built through the draft and undrafted rookies and guys that were practice squad on other teams. Yeah, no wonder we're Swiss cheese.
Yeah, they're not good. I agree.
Sorry, DJM.
What was the question again? Because I did have a point about that.
He said it was a Chark and Lambeau, or are we that bad?
Oh, yeah, Lambeau. When I saw Lambeau was out, like, that legitimately concerned me because that does affect, like, our offensive scheme, like, big time. Because you know that guy's automatic from 40 to 55 almost. I mean, he doesn't miss. So that does affect how you play call. But it wouldn't have mattered in that game at all.
It wouldn't.
No.
Wydock says Jay Gruden is offensive-minded. I'm all for him. Thank you. I'm with that, too. TJ Maxx plays says our head coach really is annoying and not aggressive enough in the offseason. Yeah, he's kind of annoying me, too, even his press conferences.
Dude, at this point, he's spent 3 years, like, apologizing or taking the blame for everything. And, dude, it's not all on him. He's just like the scapegoat of scapegoats, man.
That's been his MO.
He's been thrown under the bus, year after
true.
year, and
Poor guy.
He'll go somewhere else and be whatever, offensive line coach, and be great. I mean, he's a good guy.
At least he lost a bunch of weight. He looks great on the sidelines.
He's not eating those bologna sandwiches anymore, I'd have to say.
Brandon says, okay, well then who's our defensive coordinator next year?
Not Walsh.
It's Kurt Venables. You know who Kurt Venables is?
I've heard the name.
Defensive coordinator at Clemson, because Dabo Swinney is bringing his entire staff over next year. That's who it is.
Dude.
It could be Keith. I don't know if it's Kurt, but it's Venables. I do know that's his last name.
His last name is very familiar.
Yeah.
If the Jags were not trying to lose this year, Walsh would not be – he'd have lost his job like at this point.
I know a guy who's legit friends with Todd Walsh, okay? Not getting into it. Legit friends. He works in sales, sells a lot of things to Todd Walsh. He loves Todd Walsh. Like,
he's a great guy.
He stands by Todd Walsh as a person, as a character person. Even he talked to me this week and was like, bro, he might need to go. I think this is a friend. This is a friend.
I think I know who you're talking about, and he didn't actually renew his season tickets this year either.
I don't know if he did or not. But yeah, I mean, come on. Oatmax says Zoom hype. Thank you, Oatmax. Oatmax understands. We did all these live shows, zoomed out, had to see this.
Way to go, Oatmax, with the caveat of you mentioning it instead of him. Appreciate that, bro.
Oh, I did post on our Instagram a picture of what we're looking at,
which is cool. I have to agree. Like Jason,
go check it out on Instagram. Jaguars United _. It's the first story I've posted in probably a year on our Instagram.
I'll joke inside. Jason does an absolute legit job of setting this up. It's very impressive. It's got to be up there with beyond any other podcast, and probably like 1010XL type stuff when they set up at home.
1010XL is going to be hitting us up pretty soon, and they're going to say, hey, we noticed you misspelled the word Jaguars on your ticker, but besides that, we loved your show. Apparently, it's Brent Venables, which now that you say that, Connor, you're right. It is Brent Venables.
It's all the same. Last name's what matters.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Whatever. Haas All says low-key Jags can go 8-8 if Minshew is consistent. That could give us some respect.
No.
Do you ever respect 8-8 teams?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, they could go 8-8, but there's no respect involved with 8-8.
You'd get respect from the Jags fan base. It's like, holy crap, you won 8 games with this team?
It's amazing. Coaches must be geniuses.
We pay 5 people over $6 million a year. And on that list are guys that, like, really aren't that good. And, I could go through them, like, Joe Schobert, Miles Jack, Cam Robinson, Andrew Norwell, Brandon Linder, and Chris Conley. Those are the 5 people.
I would argue Miles Jack.
I'm able to name all 5 people off the top of my head that get paid over $6 million a year. That's a red flag that this front office is not investing salary cap into the team winning. And everyone wants to sit around and be like, oh, we're not that bad. We could win. We could, but the front office isn't trying to win because we played the team like the Titans who paid 12 people over $6 million a year, and we're rolling into the game with 5.
And that was the, dangerous part of them winning the first game and playing so good in the second game or coming back was I even thought wow, maybe DC and Marone and those, maybe they know what they're doing, letting all those guys go, not bringing anybody in, not paying anybody any kind of money. Maybe they do know what they're doing. They don't. That was just luck, dude.
It really was. Max says our defense is Swiss cheese, but without the cheese, making us just Swiss. TJ Maxx, if we don't do something about our D-line soon, we might get beat like that every week. Not only are we getting beat, but we're not blitzing. In the Titans game, we didn't bring a blitz until 4 minutes left in the second quarter. And then we got a sack. It was Chazon's sack. I mean, it blows my mind. Moon Illusion says Hashuka seems like he is I-8. Sucks Lambo's out. Can't take him for granted. That's a good point.
Yeah, and if we're honestly talking about kickers at this point, that shows how freaking far we've fallen.
I mean, if you're a good team, you talk about kickers. Honestly, in my opinion, if you're a good team, you have to have a reliable kicker because you're probably playing other good teams in the playoffs where your kicker matters. Our kicker doesn't matter, and when he misses a field goal, you still get beat by 20. Doesn't matter.
Just bring Scobie back. It'll be an emotional win for the fans, and we'll all be happy.
Trying to get caught up here on the comments. Again, if you have a comment and we missed it, just type it again and we'll try to get to it. Jags fan for life 307 says, do you think we have talent on defense to be successful without Todd Wash? That's a good freaking question. Could any D coordinator come in and be good with this defense?
As it stands today with the injuries, no.
What about without injuries?
Start of the season? Yeah, I think so.
That's a good point, Jags fan for life 307, who may be a Todd Wash burner. But I think you're right. This defense is so depleted with talent. Look at your secondary. I love C.J. Henderson, but your secondary is C.J. Henderson, Trey Herndon,
has had one good year,
Josh Jones, and an injured Gerard Wilson, who's being replaced by Andrew Wingard.
Gerard Wilson was the biggest loss we had all year.
And that's sad because he's really not that good.
No, he's
a good player. He's young. He's 26.
Good.
He gets paid a decent. They extended his contract, but he's by no means a star.
No.
Good point. Moon Illusions. We let Tannehill and Fitzpatrick look like top 10 quarterbacks, so Burrow will probably look like an elite quarterback against our secondary and without any pressure.
Yeah.
That's true. Who's starting now that Jacobs is done for the year? I forgot that Leon Jacobs tore his ACL, and I like Leon Jacobs a lot.
He's been solid, and that hurts.
I mean, I think Quincy Williams steps into that role. Shaq Quarterman maybe gets a look.
Quarterman, from what I saw.
Hopefully. Connor K. Wood says, I don't think we want 8-8. We either want to suck or be a playoff team. That's the purgatory teams like the Panthers are in. The Panthers will probably be a top drafting team. I mean, Christian McCaffrey is their best player, and he's out 6 weeks, so the Panthers might be was projected preseason, might be the one team that makes a run for that top pick. The Jets, the Panthers, and the Jags.
Not Giants and Washington?
I think Washington. I like Ron Rivera to win a handful of games.
Okay.
Look, I was big on Minshew, but when we're talking about Chark being injured, and we're talking about them, I was really big on Minshew when they still had Fournette. Teams aren't scared of the run game. Maybe they will be for a little bit with James Robinson because he has been good. But I would argue the reason why James Robinson has been able to be so good is because teams had no respect for our running game. Now they do. Yeah. So now we'll get to kind of see what they
and
are
when
all
other
about.
teams are up 2-3 touchdowns every single game, they know we're going to pass every single play. So, I mean, that eliminates all our advantage. I mean, dude, it's going to get worse. I'll just keep saying that. Going to get worse. Hashtag going to get worse.
DJM says, do you think the Jags will change up the defense mid-season or we keep losing because of our defense? If so, how do you think they will improve? 3-4 scheme?
Dude, they can't change it up. They don't have the personnel for it. That's the problem. They don't have the players.
I think they had the personnel when everyone wasn't opted out. When we talked about having who was the dude from Seattle?
I don't remember his name. But
Al Woods.
Absolutely.
When we had Cassius Marsh healthy. Who was the other dude that opted out? I can't remember. Gunter. All of those guys, I mean, that was a 3-4 team. You had add Taven Bryan into that mix. You have 3 down D linemen who can stuff the run. You put Allen and Chazon at outside linebackers combined with Schobert and Miles Jack. Those are your 4 linebackers. You roll in with your 4 defensive backs. That's a 3-4 defense right there.
Solid.
But Jags.
Now? No.
Yeah, sorry, unfortunately. It's Reese. What up, it's Reese. Says, as thin as we are talent-wise, it is still the coach's responsibility to get them as ready as possible for each game.
Well, okay, they probably are.
That's the thing. Like, it's true, but like at the end of the day, it's Jimmy's and Joe's,
exactly.
not
You
X's
go back to that
and
old
O's.
cliched saying, but it's true. I mean, like you can only get. I don't want to cuss on the family friendly.
That's
so
nice.
Carry on.
We're 80 minutes in, and we have more viewers than we've had all show. That's the thing about the live show that always gets me is like we're getting to the end of it for the podcast reasons, but we have more viewers on YouTube than we've had all night. So,
what we go from like 3 to 10?
We're from 4 to 5. No, I'm just kidding. Shout out to the YouTube for being on there. You guys are awesome. It's been a good time. Doorman we'll get you in here real quick. We improved by drafting 2 players for the first 5 rounds.
I think we've totally improved for the future.
Yeah.
So there's a big difference between this year, maybe next year, and like long term. If they're looking at long term, yeah, we've definitely improved. I mean, there's solid, athletic, good football players that are just young, and they're going to have bad games. They're going to make mistakes because they're getting thrown in the mix when they shouldn't be because we got nothing else. That's the problem. It's not their problem. It's the Jags' problem because we're not good.
Yeah, that's true. It's Reese says, what up, Jags family? After that Thursday night game, I have never been as embarrassed to be a Jags fan until Thursday. I was expecting some firing the following day, but no Con is happy losing.
I wasn't that embarrassed. I was
pretty embarrassed.
Yeah, but I was more embarrassed last year when
we lost to the Cowboys 50 to
that. But
3.
when the 3 teams went for 500 yards on the ground in a row, that was the worst ever.
But at least then you were like,
we got some draft picks.
I don't know. I don't know where I was going to go with that.
Yeah,
I'm trying. At least then you like mid-end season, so players were injured. We had rolled into that season thinking Foles was going to be the guy, so we kind of were playing on borrowed time, anyways. Whatever. I don't know what the saying is, but
or maybe the season after we went to the championship game where we absolutely sucked. I mean, that was pretty embarrassing.
That's what I'm saying.
The hopes were so high.
That Cowboys game was really the beginning of the end. Jags fan. Jags for Life 307 says, are you guys on the Taven hate train? When I watch him, he's just disruptive as hell. So do you think we will sign him to a cheap contract to keep that disruptive nature?
Disruptive or destructive?
Disruptive.
Dude, all right. You've defended him forever. So
I like Taven.
Okay,
I like Taven. Yeah, I mean, obviously, depending on what his contract comes back at is going to determine his value. I mean, obviously, you can't overpay a guy that is disruptive in the run game and can demand a double team on every single snap.
Dude.
He's not freaking...
He's made 3 plays in
Aaron
3
Donald.
He's made 3 plays in 3 years.
He's been on some bad teams, to be fair.
Dude, he's
been on some bad teams.
I can't even waste the effort at this point. It's late. Like, I don't have the energy to like argue this point. I'm a like giant Gator homer. He has been one of our worst picks ever.
Not really.
Yes, really.
He wasn't. He
would not.
He
start
was a
on
late.
he would not start on any other team in the NFL.
That's no.
Maybe 2.
No, I disagree with that.
Okay.
Wholeheartedly.
Let's put him up for trade value. What do we get for him? First round pick?
I bet you would get more out
Did
of.
we get a first round pick for him in
No.
trade value? Okay, so he's a horrible pick.
No, because he wasn't drafted like in the early. He was drafted like late first round.
High second round pick. Would we get that for him? No. We'd be lucky to get a 6 for him.
That's fair. I'll take that one. I'll take that one on the chin.
I want him to be good, and he's shown this year. He's played better this year than he has ever.
I don't think he's peaked yet.
No, I don't think he has.
That's
everybody said
my
that
point.
Everybody said that since like a senior in high school.
It's only his third year. You can't throw a guy out who's been on some bad teams. Only 3 years in the league.
I just get upset
can't.
about the fact that somebody who has all the physical attributes, like he checks all the boxes. He's strong. He's big. Like he's got all that stuff, dude. But he can't play the game. He's not a football player. Like he doesn't get it still. How's that possible?
Well, he's so like athletic and strong that he demands a double team, and like you don't see with your eyeball like benefits from that, but like everyone else does. So Josh Allen gets a single team on the outside, or Chazon gets single team.
So he's opening those guys up for all the sacks.
I mean, yeah. I mean, and he does. I don't know. I get your point, and I can't defend him to the death because at some point you have to produce. But at the same time, I think people have been overly critical of him, and I think with some time we'll see him peak. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough. If we get him for cheap,
exactly. That's what I was saying.
So okay.
What comes out? With his contract? What comes out? I expect us to decline the option and maybe us try to re-sign him cheap, team-friendly deal.
He would agree to that, right?
Well, I mean, he might try. I mean, he'll get money somewhere because he's young and athletic. So I mean, he won't be out of work. Moon Illusion says, I don't understand why they traded Calais. Well, they're trying to lose. So that's your answer right there.
I was about to say nobody does, but yeah that was dead on.
Predator, thank God Predator's finally here. It only took you 86 minutes, Predator.
We start at 10-ish, Pred.
I haven't kept my eyes on him this season, but he usually opens up the D-line. I'm talking about Taven,
of course,
for some plays, but the D-line doesn't seem to be clicking on the rush, but the run game, they're excellent.
I have to say, I mean, all the positives this year, they have stopped the run.
And what was the knock on them last year?
They got crushed on the run last year.
And what did they do this year? They stopped the run.
Okay.
Derrick Henry went ham last week after being shut down by the Jags. So
I agree.
You have to give them credit. I just it's lose-lose for these guys. It's like you got to stop the run. Oh, you're not getting sacks now. It's okay. Well, what do you want them to do? I mean, they have the worst secondary behind them. Their linebackers are the most overpaid linebackers of all time.
Hey, you know what helps that? If you're up in a game, then you know they're going to pass on you, so you don't have to worry about the run. So take
the ball at the coin toss is what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Don't defer?
I'm glad you picked up on that. That's all it's going to take for the Jags to go 12 and
just 4. Don't defer. Just when you get the coin toss,
game changer.
We'll take the ball. Good game over.
Just try it once and see what happens. Try it against Cincy. If it doesn't work, go back to your, the protocol.
Joanna Burke, what's up, Joanna? Says, I agree, Moon. I was watching him tonight and wishing we still had him. I think everyone wishes we still had Calais.
Nobody denies that, man.
Yeah,
Calais
he's a beast.
Awesome.
He's a beast.
Just like good guy, good city guy, good player.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of my favorite Jags of all time.
Yeah, and he only played here for 3 years, which is amazing.
One of my other favorite Jags of all time, Mercedes Lewis,
caught a touchdown this week.
Had a touchdown pass. And Alan Lazard, who we hyped up hard on this podcast. We hyped up Alan Lazard hard here. Like we were choo-choo conductor, front of the train, Alan Lazard bus, and then they cut him, and then
he was on the practice squad, and Green Bay came and snapped him up. He's on my fantasy team, so he went for 160 yards yesterday, and he was on the Jags.
Lucy says, "Don't defer." Haas all says, "Go Pack, go!" Yes, sir. Predator, I hope so. Our offense suffered without him. Talking about will Chark be back? We think Chark will be back.
Yeah, it's not like it's probably a cracked rib. I mean, something like that.
Probably just like pierced lung, punctured lung, contusion.
That was awful, wasn't it?
Well,
apparently that happens a lot more than they let on.
It probably does. Joey, do you have anything to add before we log off? And again, like usual, we're at our highest viewers here in the log off. But we've been on for 89 minutes. And
we have.
For the sake of the podcast.
I would just like to try to emotionally help everybody that's a Jags fan. And again, expectation setting is key. And when you're a homer, that's hard to do. When you're like thinking with your heart instead of your head. Do not have high expectations against Cincinnati. That's it.
That's good, and I agree with that. I will just add, for those of you that are hesitant to get on the tank for Trevor train.
Hey, we got 2 more.
Just watch some Trevor Lawrence film. And not just the big games, but those are good. But watch everything else. It's Reese says, "Help me, I'm depressed deeply." Go watch some Trevor Lawrence film.
Like seriously, do.
Like seriously, like watch him throw the ball. It is beautiful. It is amazing. He's going to be a generational quarterback. It's worth losing. It's worth losing, and I am the last person as a competitive person to say that it's worth it.
He makes those throws that Aaron Rodgers made like 5-6 years in, where you're like, that's impossible. Like there's no way like from physics, like a geometry standpoint, no way possible that you can be going this way, throw the ball across you that way, and hit a guy that far away perfectly. He does that.
Everyone seems to think the Jets are going to get them, but
I think the Jets are one of the best of the worst teams. Like they'll figure it out. They're going to win a few games.
I think they may too.
They've got more talent than a lot of the other teams that are sucking right now.
Well, that's going to end it for our show tonight. We will 100% be here next Monday at 10 p.m. Just go ahead and set your alarm. If you talk to your phone, say, "Hey Siri, set an alarm for Monday night, 10 p.m."
Or if you subscribe to us, you'll get an automatic pop-up.
Apparently Siri can't set an alarm, but they can set a reminder because my Siri just went off. But do that. Appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for the people that are in the chat. We love talking with you guys. Hit us up on Twitter. Give us your thoughts and comments on Twitter. We'll make sure to get to them next week. Give us your thoughts on YouTube. Thumbs up, subscribe. All that stuff helps us. We're on the Big Cat Country podcast feed, so if you search up Big Cat Country, you can check out our podcasts. A lot of people listen to our podcasts, and then they go watch our YouTube, but for those of you that do it reverse, that's where we're at. Check out the website, all that other stuff. We love hanging out with you guys. We appreciate it. It's been a great time. Joey, been a great time with you too.
Absolutely,
appreciate
man.
you being
Always
here. And we'll see you guys next week, and as always, go Jags.
Go Jags.